All right, we want to talk about this because it's been rumored that the Montreal Canadiens are looking for a new captain. This is the tweet that has sparked our discussion and this content for this video. Kent Hughes veut que le CH ait son capitaine lors de la saison 2022-2023, which is next year. For those of you who don't speak French, basically they're looking for a captain as soon as next year. And obviously, with Shea Weber, that's no longer a part of this group playing hockey and not scheduled to return, it opens this question, and that's what today's video is about. We're going to look at maybe top 5 candidates of the Montreal Canadiens for the next captain. Starting with, now you may not agree, so go ahead in the comments and say if you don't like it. We're starting with Tyler Torfoli for 73. Is this the ideal candidate? We didn't say that, but let's start with you, Justin. What do you think about Tyler as captain?
Honestly, I think he's a great assistant captain because he's a good point getter. He's a good leader in the room, but I don't think he's really necessarily captain material. Like, I don't see him getting up and having a speech before the game or, like, I don't know, talking to guys one-on-one necessarily. But yeah, I think he could be better served as an assistant.
Okay, so a little like 7 on 10 for candidacy here, I guess.
I know we're doing numbers, but...
Well, 7.3, 73. All right, Alex, for you, maybe the cup contention, maybe the cup winning history that he brings from LA. Does that change your opinion on this one?
Man, I was going to say the same thing as Justin, that I see him as an assistant. I think he's a great veteran to have around. Like Justin said, he's a good point getter. I don't necessarily see him as that leadership captain in front of the media every day and stuff, but I think he's a great presence to have around the team, especially for young guys. The way he plays is a good example for young players. So, yeah, I see him as an assistant, and we'll go 7 out of 10 as well.
All right. Boils down to that. I agree. Assistant, perfect. Captain, not so much, because for me, it's either going to be a franchise player or somebody who gives their heart and soul. Maybe we'll have some candidates further down the list that hit those marks. Moving on, Mr. Jeff Petry, not having a hot season, but was there for the cup run, obviously. And last year looked almost like he was about to run away with the Norris Trophy early on. Did not happen. Let's start with you, Alex. Jeff Petry, is he captain material?
I'm going to say no. To be honest, I don't know much about him personality-wise. To me, he doesn't seem like the most outspoken guy who'd want that role even. So I guess the only reason I'm saying no is that you don't regularly see offensive defensemen like this as a captain. I think he's more of just a secluded guy, a point getter. And yeah, that's my take. I do not see him as captain. 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. Fuck. All right. I mean, Jeff is good. Let's not forget he's a human being. Justin, go ahead.
I have to agree with Alex. I mean, I don't think he's
1 out of 10. Wow. Okay.
I mean, I won't say 1. Let's not throw the guy off a bus there, but I think he's just not like the kind of voice that you would want in a locker room for a captain. So like, he's a great player. Like Tyler Toffoli can be a great assistant captain, lead by example, not really with his voice, but by example. And yeah, so for me, it's maybe 2.5 out of 10.
Yeah. I like the grade. One thing that I think we should mention is that Jeff Petry is loved amongst his teammates. He may not be the most outspoken guy in the media, but means performance. You said presence, and the fact that he's inconsistent in his play, for me, that's not captain material. If it's in terms of points, I don't really care, but at least the effort. Sometimes it could seem like just Jeff Petry may not be playing that night, but he's on the ice. So for me, a captain can't be doing that. So for that reason, I'm out. Next, let's go with Josh Anderson. Now, this is going to ruffle some feathers because some people love Josh Anderson. Some people hate him. But for me, this is interesting. Do you think that he's an ideal candidate? Let's start with you, Justin.
For me, it would depend on his relationship in the locker room. If he gets along well with all the players, I think he would fit well as a captain type player. So for me, it's a yes, but I'm not 100% sold on the fact that he has like a very good relationship with every player on the team. So
Alex,
if I were to give a number, I'd give him a 7. Let's say 7.
A 7. Okay, all right. A little bit redundant. All right, here we go, Alex.
Yeah, Josh Anderson, I think similar to Toffoli, I'd see him as an assistant. I think you can't really have him as a captain just because of his lack of defensive game. Like, he is a good example for players that he's always high energy and always forechecking and stuff. But I think he lacks a bit of that responsibility for the team, especially on the defensive end. So I could see him as an assistant, that offensive guy, that spark, that energy guy. I'll give him 6.5.
Okay. I say I think he's a niche player. And because he's too niche, it doesn't make sense. It's like a Milan Lucic. I'm not going to make the same comparison because I think he's a little bit more effective, at least in today's NHL, as a Milan Lucic. But that's the comparison. I don't see that type of player being a captain either. For that reason, I give Josh a 5 on 10, but a 10 on 10 for assistance. So moving down to the 2 last candidates. Starting with Brendan Gallagher. We talk about consistency, heart and soul, effort, the presence, the pedigree. Not the greatest contract, not the greatest year for Brendan Gallagher. Let's start with you, Alex. Is he captain material?
Absolutely. I think if Brendan Gallagher is still on the team next year, he's the definite choice for captain. My only concern with him is his relationship with the refs when it comes to penalties and goalie interference, stuff like that. But I 100% believe, like you said, the heart and soul, he's always playing his heart out, always in the corners, scoring the dirty goals. This is exactly what you want from a captain. So, yeah, he'd be my pick if he's still here. I'll give him 9 out of 10 just for that ref issue.
I like it. Justin.
Yeah, it's a good point. Something I didn't really think about. But, yeah, I mean, everything Alex said, the heart and soul, like, he deserves it. He's been here the longest. He's been loyal to the Habs. I think he's the best suited to be a captain. The only concern would be the fact that if he's not productive, or if his game kind of starts to slow down, he starts to be more injured, then he won't really serve as well as someone else would as captain. So that's my only concern. I personally don't believe that Brendan Gallagher is done. I think he can still be a 30-goal scorer in this league. So to me, I think Brendan Gallagher should be the next captain. And I would say 9 out of 10.
Okay. I think that this guy is a 9 out of 10 as well. The only thing is that I don't think he will be a Montreal Canadien for that long. And if there is a deal on the table for that reason, that's where I want to bring up our last contestant, I guess, or candidate, and that's Nick Suzuki. And Nick Suzuki does not yet hit all the boxes. I do think that what he's shown is that, you know, he wants to be a part of this group. Obviously, a lucrative deal. He's got, you know, the pedigree of a young centerman that's getting into this league, that's defensively responsible, like a little bit of a Patrice Bergeron, who, you know, is the captain of the Boston Bruins. But it's either Brendan Gallagher, and if it's not Brendan Gallagher, for me, this is the next guy. So over the 2, I give Nick Suzuki an 8 on 10 personally, because I think that he still needs to prove himself in this league and maybe amongst his peers, and get out of this drought. So for that reason, I would actually pick Brendan Gallagher, but this is my runner-up right here, Nick Suzuki. I don't know what you guys think. So Alex, what about you, Nick Suzuki?
Yeah, I agree with you. He'd be my second choice behind Gallagher. I'd give him maybe 7.5, 8. My only big concern with Suzuki is if we're going that route, it means that we've gone for the rebuild, and I'm not sure how I feel about having such a young guy leading that rebuild, basically, and not having that big veteran presence. But if you keep other guys in the room, like Toffoli, Anderson, for example, I'm sure they'd help out. So, yeah, I could see it being Suzuki, and I would have no problems with that.
Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing really more to add. You guys said it very well. I think Suzuki's very young, but he's already the assistant captain, or one of the assistant captains now. So he has a voice in the room. He is a leader on the team, and that says a lot for a 22-year-old, right? So, I mean, yeah, I think he's definitely a future captain on the team, but I think Gallagher takes precedence on him if he's on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, you heard it here at the No Respect Podcast. If you guys disagree, hate any of our takes, let us know down below in the comments. This was our top 5. Maybe we missed somebody. Carey Price, that wouldn't happen. So let us know. Subscribe, like if you may. And if not, we are the No Respect Podcast, and we shall see you relatively soon. Have a good one, and go Habs go.